but we will be able to see what kind of Oregon we have in store this time around. You know, Valkyrie, regardless of how it went the first time, we can see them either bounce back if that was a loss, or repeat the same thing if it was a victory. As I've mentioned earlier, Valkyrie, they made the closed qual bracket in our first qualifier, but they got eliminated in that first round. Not sure exactly who they lost out to here. It was Gusick, actually, that they fell to in that first round, the round of 16 in that bracket. So they'll be looking to make that again, but so far, sitting at 3-3, they are not on track to do so. They need this win if they want to have a shot of making these qualifiers. Valence, they are already sitting at 4-2. They are already in a more comfortable position. They just have to stay consistent and continue, you know, feeling that momentum, riding that wave, and propelling themselves. They, again, didn't do that first qual, propelling themselves to this second qualifier, at least that closed bracket, so they can have a fighting chance.
Well, already, Valence have moved in, starting to open up the vert, obviously. Deal with anyone playing off-site upstairs, and of course that player is Shrady in security, but as soon as the Buck goes ahead and does his construction work, Shrady's immediately going to fall back. Smart play from him, not wanting to get caught out by the skeleton key of Rican, and now Focal is the next up. He's going to be trying to work his way down Freezer, where Shrady is playing with 2 ADSs and a shotgun to his name. That is a most advantageous fight for the Mute. As an attacker, that is pretty tough to challenge. In comes Hitman as well, as the Jaeger of Mental falls back down the stairs. So hey, a minute 20, minute 25 wasted on the roam. That's not the best thing in the world, but it's also not bad. You didn't lose any bodies.
Yeah, Focal looking to challenge on the player at bottom of Freezer's stairs here. Maybe hoping a couple of nades from this security hatch can assist them, but it won't. It's actually going to result in Focal falling to the shotgun straight to his face, and here comes Exum, also emboldened to go for the swing, and he will pick up another. Rican will fall. Elsit will get a bit of a response here, but that's going to leave both him and Hitman alone to fight against 4. That's going to be Merry Mental, who's been dropped down to quite low HP here, and now a nade coming his way. That's in perfect position, and already at low HP, that is going to be more than enough to clear him out. A 3v2 here for Valkyrie, still in the advantage, but their numbers are starting to dwindle from above. Valence applying a lot of pressure, even though it's just 2 of them. There are 2 players who have found a frag each and are looking to hunt down a few more.
And there's Exum with the kill onto Hitman. Late refrag for his team, and Shrady with another. So 3 for Shrady, 2 for Exum. A lot of those kills coming in Freezer. Pretty poor take from the attack. Not dealing with the Mute sitting bottom Freezer means that the Mute is free to just pump away with the shotgun. That was 2 pumps and 2 kills for him. Exum as well peeking up the hatch and just slamming the guy watching down Freezer. That was impressive from him. And of course, you know, those 2 players repositioning and rounding out the round. Well done for Valkyrie. The roam was nothing impressive. It was pretty standard as well from Valence. The clear, very standard, kind of what you expect, but it was that Freezer play that Valence really didn't know how to take control of.
It was that initial clear from them that looked like it was about to go perfectly, because we saw how Shrady, I think it was, with that shotgun sitting tucked close at the bottom of Freezer stairs. It looked like Shrady was about to be killed, right? We saw multiple players prepping, a couple of flashbangs and a couple of frag grenades from that security hatch above. It's a tough angle to get that nade over towards that position, but they never even got that clear going because the support from Valkyrie, from Exum specifically, was also there. He was bold enough to actually go for that wide swing and challenge on those players who were hoping to take care of Shrady sitting below those Freezer stairs. So they had great support network there in Freezer itself. So despite the mounting pressure that Valence was trying to build on that position and go for that, you know, that Freezer laundry-sided take, Valkyrie shut it down before it could really begin, denying that utility clear, denying the clear of a couple of those extended players in those very important power positions. And you give Shrady a shotgun, you put him at the bottom of Freezer stairs, that is most certainly going to be a power position that you're looking to hold for as long as possible.
Yeah, once again, Valkyrie are extending into the middle floor. So this is arguably even more important to clear than on the basement round, because you do not want those C4s to come up from under you and blow you sky high, and especially because it is Mental and Trady, the two C4 operators roaming down here, that makes it even more imperative to clear these players. A nade goes in, that'll deal with the signal disruptor, blocking both the doorway as well as that main kitchen single panel wall. That'll force Mental to back up a little bit, but you can tag team with Shrady. And you've also got Wi-Fi at top. Freezer, who has a retreat down into the basement, supporting Shrady and establishing this crossfire. You've even got Exum above looking through floor holes by the double door, but it's going to be Reekin with the first kill onto Mental. That player in kitchen now going down. Shrady no longer feeling safe to play inside of security, will fall back with Wi-Fi and likely come back up to the site soon enough.
Shrady picking up that first kill, at least for Valkyrie. That one on to Reekin. Once again, shutting down the Buck. Really looking to keep that soft destruction in the round for a bit longer if you're Valence, but another round where they will not be able to do much with that skeleton key. So now, instead of, you know, approaching this site with that soft destruction, with that utility, they're just trying to find these frags. Focal will walk up the white stairs and, yes, get smoked by hacks. Shrady will continue to frag out, now finding his 5th kill just on this second round, shutting down another one of these just unaware Valence attackers. It's Hitman and Devil, the last 2 players standing, with, well, quite a battle ahead of them. They're going to have to fight against 4 of these Valkyrie defenders who are not just sitting back. They're actually playing pretty aggressive and swinging out onto the several positions they know Valence are holding. They knew Devil was at the top of the white stairs, and so they forced him away. Devil will take the time to rotate all the way around towards Trophy, where he'll be contesting from the other side, hoping that this, you know, 180-degree crossfire that he and Hitman are holding is enough to get this traction back in the round, but it's going to take more than a smile to get that one done.
Yeah, there's only 35 seconds left. Not a lot of time to try and clutch up a 2 versus 4, and these last 2 attackers are very separated. In comes Hitman. They hear the vault as Hax goes down. He's at least traded, and wow, Exum whips around for the second as well. Incredible play from the Jaeger gives Valkyrie their 2nd round in a row, and once again, the roam clear. Nothing special. Was able to nab the kill, but it was the fight back from Valkyrie. Shrady getting the trade on his way back into the site, and the site play working wonders for Valkyrie. So far, the big issue for Valence has been actually punching in and getting past the initial execute phase.
Right, I mean, they got that clear down, like you said, but when it came to getting the steps done to get to that execute, that's where they fell short a little bit. It's not often we see multiple players pushing up the white staircase prematurely, but I feel like that's kind of what we saw in this round, Harrison. It wasn't that Valkyrie just had the awareness and they knew where to run and seek the frags and shut down Valence. It was more that Valence was putting themselves maybe a little bit too extended for their own good. They didn't check all the boxes necessary for that kind of white stairs push. They didn't apply enough pressure from below kids in order to clear out those players who would likely be swinging on that white stairs position. Why is that, you might ask? That's a consequence of losing your Buck pretty early. When you don't have that skeleton key, your operator designated to decimate the floor of that kid's dorms area, you pretty much don't have that other option to shut down those players on the site who are swinging on you. And Valence learned that one the hard way. Valkyrie more than happy to exploit that, and they'll take 2 in a row.
And now we go on to the tertiary site, the real test of Valkyrie's defense, to see if they are all about that. Now, if you don't know, we could have mentioned this on the previous site as well, on kids, but the kids' bomb site, the room, has actually been changed. It was kind of shadow patched for whatever reason. I believe the bunk in the middle of the room is actually slightly bigger, and you can shoot under the bunks now.
Uh-huh.
So, changes some of the interactions with, like, I know, like, the pit drop, big window. You can no longer see past, I think you can no longer see, like, from big window into the rotate, I think, or the angle is a lot smaller. Something like that because of the increased size of the bunk, or if it was repositioned or something like that. All I know is that kids is different now. I don't really know how much impact it's going to have, We'll just have to wait and see if any of those changes come into play. I think I actually saw someone getting like their feet shot up from under the bunk. So that's already one way that it's impacted people trying to hold that.
Well, on Oregon, I mean, this kid's site, the room itself, I mean, it comes into play on a lot of different objectives. The reason you mention it now is because that's exactly what Valence are trying to approach. That's what they're trying to clear out. In order to go with this meeting attack that they're trying to make happen here, they're choosing to, do it the hard way, do it the methodical way, clear out this entire top floor rather than shortcutting it and just clearing out attic. The problem is, this costs time and this costs utility. It's been over 90 seconds in this round, and you still have Wi-Fi. You still have Shrady, who are ever present on this top floor, and not only that, but they are fragging out. Wi-Fi will claim the first kill onto Devil, who had the pre-fire, but just not in the right position. Shrady will also take down Rican, who was not aware, it seemed, of the castle's position, maybe assumingly that he had dropped away. Of course, that would be a misconception because Shrady was very much still a factor, so much so that he will find his 6th kill on the round. Focal alone gets taken down by Exum's shotgun. He will get traded out eventually by Hitman, but once again, Valence are in a 2v4.
And that was Exum's first death. He's 5-1 as Hitman gets lit up even more from this Malusi. The nade will come in, but Mental expects the play. Good game sense from the Malusi to rotate off before the explosive hit him. Elsys will finally end Shrady's reign of terror, giving the castle his first death as well. But both he and Hitman are very lit up in a 2 versus 3 with the smoke still alive and the Jaeger's carbine still in play. Wi-Fi coming now from Greenhall to help his teammate. There's Wi-Fi with the first kill, looking for the second, but he doesn't even need to take the fight. They know that Hitman is effectively out of time, and Mental will put him in his grave with the pistol. Valkyrie take a perfect site rotation to start off Oregon.
Well, you said meeting would be the real test, and I gotta say, it didn't look like they needed to study much for that one. I mean, they clearly had it down just fine, and Valence didn't put up much of a fight. It wasn't a misconception about what they needed to do, maybe compared to the previous round. Valence elected to go about that round. I called it the hard way, and I'll stand by that. They had to go by a very challenging top floor clear that would take a lot of time. It felt like they didn't commit enough resources to that, right? They only had 2 players trying to clear that one out at any given moment, and both of those players died. Right? They both lost their lives to Shrady, and it was, I think, Wi-Fi on the Jaeger in that round, who was sitting in attic. Clumsy mistakes coming out from Valence. It wasn't that they, failed to understand what they had to do. It was just when it came down to the execution of that plan, they didn't have the intel or the manpower allocated to that position to do it. And it's a troubling pattern emerging here. 3 pretty decisive victories for Valkyrie. Yes, it's Oregon defense. We can go on and on about the advantageousness of this side. But still, you got to pull out some attacking wins. And Valence have not done that yet, and they need to start doing it here in round number 4.
They've got the Ying. That's a change. Ying can be quite the powerful operator on this bomb site. Of course, you open up E-Box, you send the Candelas down through into Pillar, blinding the player there, blinding the player in Bunk, blinding the player, Barrel / Harry Potter, jump your way in, and, well, there's a lot that's controlled. It's free. Because of those Candelas, sometimes kills as well. Interestingly enough, though, Elsys is not running smokes. Elsys has the hard breach charge, despite a Maverick being on the team, and despite knowing that, well, Valkyrie roam. They've already got security open. You don't need to Mav that, so why take the hard breach charge?
Huh. I mean, the whole approach from Valence here is a little bit peculiar. One thing that's not is that they'll find the opening pick, and that is something that I think we're seeing for the first time now. Valence succeeding in this early push. I guess you could say in their attack on dorms, they did succeed in that initial roam clear, eventually going 1-for-1, and of course Shrady is looking to make that 1-for-1 once again a reality. By now, going for a potential retake here over towards this kitchen and dining side of things. He'll reposition in kitchen for now. hoping to maybe be more of an impact on this round than Valence would like. Valence right now really focused on going for this north-sided take, haven't taken much map control over towards Kitchen, over towards Freezer at all. It does mean that they've got all of their manpower concentrated in the same spot, but it also means that Valkyrie, despite being down a man, know exactly where Valence are coming from. Because without that freezer hatch open, without any approach coming from that laundry side, they know exactly where to look and exactly how to frag out. Both Exum will do that now twice, both onto Hitman and Focal. Elsist will respond.
Trady, though, on the roam, still trying to be a thorn in Valence's backside, gets shut down. So we're down to an even 3-on-3 with about a minute left for Valence to execute. And the most important thing is that they've still got this Ying. Elsist is still alive and well as the buck comes through. He knows there's a player tucked in the corner. Easy pre-fire onto Exum. And now those Candelas, there's less area they have to cover, making them more potent where they're placed. Wi-Fi attempting to land a nasty shot, but Elsist jumps through ahead of the Candelas. What a misplay! He goes down in the middle of E-Box, and what could have been a man advantage here for the attack is now down back to even. You've also got Hax holding onto elbow 9 degrees with the shotgun. Elsist, he's going to get picked up, but it's delaying time, and the C4 comes out from Wi-Fi. That could be huge, but he peeks through it and ends up dying, whipping all of his shots on the Vector. Poor target acquisition. That could have easily found 2 kills, but he didn't hit the trigger, and that'll be the result of Valkyrie's first loss.
A bold move to peek off the C4 without detonating it. I couldn't tell if that was intentional or not. Wouldn't make sense if that was intentional. Obviously, there is a tremendous element of surprise by throwing that C4 and then sprinting towards it. But you have to remember that when an explosive comes flying around the corner, the attacking team is going to do one thing. They're going to run away. So when he found himself swinging around the corner, there was nobody there to shoot. So he pre-fired anyway, found himself exposed in the middle of pillar, and he died. Unlucky there, really. That he wasn't able to get that kill, and a bit of a misplay for sure. Notwithstanding, there were several misplays on the side of Valence. You highlighted the Candela and the timing of that E-Box drop, which was a little bit curious, especially because Valence knew exactly where the Pillars player was and knew that it was not safe to drop E-Box at that time, relying fully on the ability of those Candelas to blind that person and still jumping the gun just a little bit. Able to pull out the round regardless, their first one, in fact, on one of these more challenging bomb sites to attack. So more power to them there, fighting through those mistakes, making a couple of adaptations along the way, and finding their first success.
Yeah, but I feel like that was more on a couple misplays from Valkyrie.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was a little rough around the edges, but Valkyrie are going to try again. They're going to go back, sorry, not try again. They're going to go up to dorms. And once again, have these roamers downstairs. It's Shrady and Mental. Now, last time they tried to hold this, Mental went down pretty early without much of a fight. He went down in about, I think, a minute 15, minute 20 in the round in Kitchen, which is not great losing a C4 that early. I'm not quite sure how he died, whether it was just to someone challenging the Kitchen doorway. If so, maybe Mental just overextended a little bit or overpeaked. So hopefully he plays, learns his lesson and plays slightly more passive. But as I say that, he'll be the opening pick, or he'll get the opening pick with the C4 onto Rican. I don't even know where that was. Where the hell did Rican just die?
It's been this entry death on like 3 different occasions now, it feels like. Not having the best day so far on the buck.
Where the
Again,
hell was that C4?
unclear where he died from exactly. Could have been... Oh, no, there it is, right there.
Pre-placed on main.
Yeah, pre-placed on main, and he'll die right in front of, the satellite window, where he will be unable to live much longer here. So, Valence now down a man this time, rather than finding the opening pick themselves. But they've still got a bit of utility and a bit of time to work with. Devil will be, of course, doing his best on the Maverick, trying to open up that master wall, while Focal is going to take a good bit of damage. I believe that's from Mental, who went for a bit of a peek down below. He says he fumbled that one, and yes, missing that fatal blow, just 1 HP remaining on Focal, and now they know exactly where he is. Doesn't seem to matter, though, for Valkyrie as a whole, because they'll pick up that kill onto Elsest either way, and because Focal is already super low on HP, This one is essentially a 5v3, now 5v4v2, because Shrady was able to get that trade onto Devil after Focal got the kill onto Mental. Hitman spotting out Wi-Fi, who got a bit over-aggressive for his own good, and finishing off that kill with an impact from below. Nice timing there, so not out of the question that Valence can still take this round. They will have to deal with a flank from Shrady and the two defenders who remain on the site.
That one probably spooked Wi-Fi a bit. Still 3v2. Focal very low on HP as Hitman separates from his teammate, looking to make his way up towards Trophy. They know about Focal's position. The LMG is going to have to do a lot of work if Focal wants to have any impact, but he will go down as Hitman finds the trade onto Exum. Shrady and Hax now, the two SAS operators, are last alive. A C4 goes up, but it's not going to hit anything as Hitman has already made his way over towards Attic and now push out over towards the center of the bomb site, right around the kid's shield, but Shrady has an angle from below on the case. So even if Hax loses his fight, it's still very unlikely that Hitman's going to be able to get out of this. He's got to peek soon. There's only 5 seconds left, and he will not win it. In fact, he will trade with Hax because there's still a player on the defense alive, and even if Hax was the last, because the case was not down, Valkyrie still take it and now lead 4-1.
A solid round there from Valkyrie, no question about that one. It was definitely a bit closer than we've seen in the previous rounds. The victory that Valence they were able to secure on the basement site definitely seems to have empowered them just a bit, but at the end of the day, not able to close it out. Now, Valkyrie are faced with the decision of where they want to go next on defense, because sitting at 4-1, they are in a perfect position to jump out to a dominant 5-1 lead, not something that's super easy to come back from, even when Valence switched to the more advantageous defensive side themselves. They could go to basement, the site that they were able to secure the first time, but not the second, or they could go to meeting, the site that technically they have a 100% success rate on. That question will be answered, though. They're going back here towards basement. Risky, considering that Valence just won this attack, but like you mentioned in your post-round analysis, Harrison, it was also a result of Valkyrie making a couple of big mistakes. So theoretically, Valkyrie may just understand that, you know what, let's ditch those mistakes, let's tidy things up, because if we play our game, we can take this round.
Yeah, Valkyrie just need to tighten up. That's really it. They just need to tighten up. We've also got a bit of a change. Devil no longer on Maverick. He'll pick up the Ying that Elsis drops for Nomad. So we are currently running an attacker lineup on an Oregon basement attack with no hard breaching other than the Ying's secondary ones. And I mean, with the way that Valkyrie have been playing, I mean, there's only 2 hatches you need to open, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. Or, hey, you can open up E-Box, completely ignore laundry, and then open up the elbow wall, the single panel wall heading into supply. You got plenty of options with that. I'm just a little bit concerned that you don't have enough. I mean, it's only got 2 possibilities, where normally you'd like, at the very least, 3 / a Maverick. Plus, you're losing out on a set of nades. Sure, you've got more burn, but I mean, at that point, why not take... Because you got the Nomad now. Why not take the stuns on Nomad, hard breach on Buck, so you can have smokes on Ying?
I mean, either way, hard breach or not,
smoked.
I'm not in love with the Buck pick, right? And Rican really hasn't seen much use of that skeleton key at all, not to mention this is the basement site where this soft breach from the skeleton key is almost useless, is it not? I mean, there's very little you can do with that. Of course, you can support your teams from above, maybe assist in a roam clear, but now that you've lost Focal, theoretically one of your bigger fraggers on the entry Zofia, things are going to get a lot more difficult for you now. Once again, Valens are fighting on the back foot in a 4v5, a situation we've seen them in on most occasions, and a situation that they do not thrive in. Valkyrie, in fact, are the ones that step it up when they know their opposing team is fighting from a slight disadvantage. Hitman, again, challenging on these North Tower stairs, hoping that maybe Wi-Fi will accidentally overextend himself behind that pillar and maybe get exposed enough to get that kill, but that's not going to be the case just yet. Rican repositioning towards this E-box hatch, drop some flashes in. Mental, he'll step up and get a kill onto Elsis after Elsis was able to find that kill onto his teammate. Hitman gets one, and here comes Wi-Fi now on a bit of a retake. He'll take down Hitman, and that's going to force both players on Valence, both Devil and Rican, to step up and get a bit more aggressive. Rican, he's already in the middle of the site, and Hax has no idea. Wi-Fi will be able to secure the trade, so just like that, it is Devil alone in a 1v2. He's got 30 seconds to work with. He doesn't have any info. He doesn't have any teammates to support him, and he's got to find 2 players or try to get this bomb down, but that's going to take a miracle. Instead, he's going to opt to hunt for these frags for now, swinging out into the middle of the gold hall here. He knows where Wi-Fi is, but Shrady will be that element of surprise that Valkyrie will use to their advantage. They take the 5-1 half.
Well played on the execute, again starting with the Jaeger, making his presence known in tower, dropping the case carrier. And because the case was dropped all the way in the corner, there was no safe spot for Hitman to pick it up. So being extremely exposed, recovering case, he's the next to go down thanks to Wi-Fi. And then Valkyrie play that 3v2 pretty much perfectly. The gas nade coming from Hax, completely locking off the long hallway, forcing Valence to either challenge the elbow shield or walk in through supply, which they do. Admittedly, Rican is able to find his frag, but Wi-Fi does not have to worry about his long hallway. There's only one direction he needs to be looking to get that trade. At that point, 1v2. Devil's got to go frag hunting. There's one man freezer, one man watching long. That is a mean crossfire that you are just not going to win if you're an attacker. So well done to Valkyrie. Their level of play has certainly increased from when we last saw them in Qualifier 1. They have quite the hefty lead. 5-1 as they now head on to their attack, with Shrady leading the pack 10-2.
I mean, really, looking at where we're sitting right now, looking at how dominant Valkyrie have been, I mean, this is kind of backwards to the outcome that one may have predicted if you looked at the results from the last qualifier and you looked at the results from this one. I mean, Valence, coming into this matchup, they were sitting at 4-2. They have been more dominant in this Swiss bracket than Valkyrie have been, sitting at 3-3 instead. Valkyrie did make the close part of those qualifiers last time, but they were not able to get past that first round. This is their chance to remedy those mistakes, and despite a rocky start yesterday, they are looking to tidy things up and just get it over with today. They've got to make that top 16, and this is their statement to prove they can do it. Dominance so far on defense, they got to just continue that on the attacking side. Valence, they've got a chance to bounce back themselves, not necessarily in this qualifier, but in this map as a whole, having been shut down hugely by Valkyrie so far, and unfortunately for Focal, the story is not going to change just yet. A masterful shot to start off the round will result in Valkyrie in a 5v4.
Well done, Exum. We saw him earlier as well play with one shot in the SI quals, and he was a menace on the map, and it seems like that trend is going to continue here on Oregon in the SCS quals. Elsis will take a little bit of damage, as does Shrady, but it comes at the price of a kill. Hitman goes down, but here's the play from the Aruni, still tucked inside of Armory, drops the hatch, takes out Wi-Fi. No trade comes in from Mental, and there's someone over towards Split. Not expecting Devil means that it's going to be an even man count once again. 3 versus 3. Quite the bite back from Valence. The Rican is very low.
Exothermic charge will go off, exposing another angle on this site. But still, it's a 3v3, and, well, Valkyrie, they're not out of the woods just yet. Still, 3 players to find, and, well, they've got 90 seconds to work with, but not a lot of info at their fingertips here. Valence trying to surprise this team and maybe get a bit more aggressive. I mean, it worked for them finding these 2 kills, but they are looking to find a few more. It'll work for Shrady on the side of Valkyrie. Unfortunately for Valence, they will lose yet another player. It is Devil to fall yet again, who has had a very quiet game so far. Exum takes the head of Rican out of pretty much nowhere, and that means it is all up to Elsis in the middle of the site, all alone against 3, and, well, there's the trade to finish out the round, and there is another round win for Valkyrie. The dominance continues, Harrison.
Now, I don't know how Exum was allowed to find that kill, because the Aruni wasn't moving.
Right.
I wonder if there was some kind of breakdown in communication. Maybe the Aruni expected Elsis to have been covering his trophy door. Because without Elsis there, Exum is free to just walk in through Trophy and fry Rican, who wasn't looking there. So I imagine there was some sort of communication problem between those last two players, maybe not completely clear on which angles they were watching or which angles they were exposed to. By the way, that allows Valkyrie to win the round. Again, well-placed shot from Shrady as well on a Devil into the attic rotate, really opening the sight for his team in that 3v2. Valkyrie up 6-1. We have yet to have a solid response from Valence. I mean, Hitman is even, and that's the best they have. Rican 5 and 6, as well as Elsis. Focal and Devil only having 2 kills to their name. This is not the Valence we've come to know throughout this qualifier. They have been on top of things, but against Valkyrie, they seem to be falling flat. And now, defending basement, this could potentially be their last bastion if we don't see some much more convincing play.
Hard to put a finger on the one thing they're doing wrong, and it's not like we can see a ton of different things they're doing wrong, at least in a big way. It's just the little things that have been adding up in a couple of these rounds, and, well, I mean, look at where the scoreline is now. Those little things matter, especially if there's a lot of those little things going wrong. If there's a couple of communication issues, if a couple of information issues where you don't quite know where the attackers are coming from, and we can see that Devil has had enough. Same for Hitman. They want to challenge Valkyrie head on because, as far as they're concerned, this is their last hurrah. They want to make sure that they can go out fighting, and maybe an aggressive, rat roam or an aggressive contestation of this attack the moment they step in the building is the solution. As I say that and talk about that strategy, it does seem that Hitman and Devil will maybe think twice about that, backing off and rotating away towards the tower side. In the meantime, Valkyrie have actually taken a good bit of control on this second floor. We can see Shrady on the Lion, already up in attic, looking to maybe find a couple of these kills. And potentially now that Devil is going all the way back up to T3, yes, it could be an element of surprise, but he also could be isolating himself and trapping himself away from his teammates who, in a moment, may be in much need of support.
Valkyrie have been pretty quick so far. Shrady very tentative about someone perhaps in attic. Again, like you said, it is just Devil. All the way at the top of T3. And, I don't know if Valkyrie know about this.
I don't think they do.
I think they're completely and blissfully unaware. The Shrady is going to take some shots, I believe, from Devil himself. So, well, you see the pings. They know now. They are painfully aware, but do they have the time to deal with it? That's the real question. There's only 1:15, and they're finally just now aware of Devil's presence? That's not good. You've also got Hitman sitting in garage. He could make a play if someone from the attack is rushing past. I mean, you can already see Exum. He's got no idea Hitman's here. At least I don't think. But never mind. There's the wall bangs. Okay, they had perfect intel on him. I thought he was hidden. And, well, it was the exact opposite. And now Devil's getting full blinded. No one from the attack is going to be able to capitalize on it just yet. So that flash is unfortunately going to be wasted, whether Valkyrie know it or not. Devil is perfectly happy just sitting up here. Now, what Valkyrie might do, because they know it's -1 man on the site, just take the 5v3 here or take the 4v3 and have one man watching the flank waiting for Devil to make his move. Hax is looking like he wants to try and drop E-Box Hatch, but here comes Devil. SMG 12 in hand, curiously, for whatever reason, not using the K1A, and there's the flank watch I was just talking about. Shrady capitalizes. Exum takes a lot of damage from Rican. Here come the nades. They're not going to be working because of the Wamai, as Rican gets one. Shrady refrags Wi-Fi on the floor, but Foco's going to keep pushing. Foco gives up his life for free, and the LMG unstoppable. Valkyrie take round 8, 7-1, because of some, well, really questionable decisions in the last round.